Hello everyone, welcome to my podcast, going from thousands to millions. I'm really excited because it's starting to, get some momentum. We're getting some great feedback from the listeners. So I want to say thank you to everyone that's listening to us, taking the time to actually watch the videos, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We just want to give back as much as we can, get as much feedback as we can, and do cool things and just have fun and just tell stories, right? Nothing really written, no scripts, just fun and games, and keep it as real as possible. So that said, I've got my guest here today, who's a good friend of mine, Nick from MoneyTech. Hey mate, how are you?
Good, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So we work in the same building.
But I'm one level up, right? What does that mean?
I don't know, bro. I'm always there. I'm the underdog, right? We met in the car park maybe because we have a love and passion for cars. Nick's got an awesome GTR, which is black. We love black cars. I've got a black Ferrari, so there's some kind of a thing
You've
there.
got one up on me there. I'm level 4. I have one up on you, but I've got a GTR and you've got a Ferrari. So,
it's funny. I love that car. It's funny. It's like a cult car. Growing up, back in the 90s, there was the GTR and all that, right? And
cult following.
Oh, big time, man. And then when that car came out, I remember sitting and going, wow, I want one of those one day, What a cool car. Especially the dash in the middle, it's got all the tachometers, it's all electronic, you can see the G-forces and stuff.
You know what the most concerning thing about that introduction was?
What?
You said we met in a car park, and I think in the next sentence I heard love and passion. So I'm not sure what your listeners are going to think, man, but anyway.
It's funny because I actually just thought that as I said it, I just wanted to move on, but you have to bring it back.
Yeah, so anyway, let's move on.
That said, mate, we've caught up a few times. But we really never talked shop. So, I know a little bit about what you do. So tell me, MoneyTech is the name of the company, right? So tell me, actually, let's go back a few steps.
Let's do that.
So how old are you?
35.
35,
Almost
young man.
36, young man.
Right?
I feel and look 45, but 35.
So tell me, where did you start? Tell me, go back all the way from high school. Where did you get to high school?
Well, bit of a mongrel really. I've been all over the place. So I spent my early years in ACT.
Okay.
Grew up in the southern suburbs of Canberra. Moved to Tassie.
Okay.
As a teenager. So I spent most of my life growing up in Tassie. Went to the same school as Princess Mary of Denmark.
Oh,
ironically, she was a few years above me. I've got no juicy stories to feed you about that at all, but that's my high school's claim to fame.
Yeah, cool.
Finished school and actually moved over to the UK. So skipped university and straight over to the UK and worked for Lloyds Bank.
Oh wow! There you go. How'd you get into that?
Went into a labour hire centre. Told them I knew how to fix computers because I'd done an IT apprenticeship, and they said, "Great, computers, banking, same thing, really completely different." But that got me into financial services. So you asked me sort of to step back.
So that's how you got into financial services?
That is how I got into financial services.
I love that.
I took any job that I could get, and they put me in a call centre for Lloyds Bank over in the UK. Did a couple of years over there, which I loved. Moved back to Australia. Started working in the Commonwealth Bank call centre down in Hobart, which I didn't love. I didn't have a passion for that. But ironically, how I ended up at MoneyTech, and I'll get into what we do, but we had a careers night at CBA, and someone from the business banking area came in and said, I helped fund the development of the Silo apartment project and construction of the hotel near the airport. And they were like real visible structures that I'd seen around Hobart getting built. And I thought, geez, that's exciting. I'm sitting here helping people with credit card applications and telling them what their bank balance is. Yeah. There's other people working for the same bank that are helping, with construction loans. Yeah. So I started volunteering and working in the business banking centre after I'd finished my call centre shift.
So you move across?
I'd go in there for free. I would go in there, I'd help the business bankers with their credit card applications, doing all the shit work that they didn't want to do. Yeah. I even trolled the streets speaking to small businesses saying, hey, do you need a business loan? I knew nothing about business loans at that point, but hey, do you need a business loan? I work for Commonwealth Bank, we might be able to help you with it. If I got a bit of buy-in, I'd then refer it to a business banker. And eventually the state manager of business banking just said, fuck mate, why don't you just make this permanent and come and work here as a business banker? That's what got me started. 10 years at CBA through small business banking, into corporate banking, and then through to institutional banking, which is sort of your ASX listed larger businesses, and did a bit of agricultural finance.
Oh wow, it's interesting, you know.
But I hustled. It was a hustle to get there,
But-
without the uni qualifications behind you as well.
Well, you did all the hard work. You know, you took a job without getting paid. You know what I mean? It shows drive and hunger. You wanted to do things. You wanted to learn. You wanted to step up. And I think one of the things that's missing these days is a lot of the young kids out there. You know, they get caught up in all the social media hype and all that. They don't realise that, you know, the secret is hustling and working hard. You know, breaking your back and having those, you know, long hours and doing things for free. You know, one of the things that I'm finding that people are asking for things, but they're not willing to give back. It's like, hey, can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? You know, we were talking about it before. You know, if I want to get someone that I'm really dying to meet or dying to get on a podcast or whatever, right? The first thing I say to them is, listen, love to meet you. Happy to donate something to a charity of yours, of your choice, because I want to give back.
Giving back.
Because I appreciate their time. You know, the time is valuable. I don't want to just bring him in, and you know, I'm not even doing it for myself. I'm doing it for the audience, and I want to give back to the community, right? But the first thing I say is, how do I give back? And for you to say that, you went in there, you did the hours, you did the time, and here's the result. So tell me. So then, how did Money Tech come up?
Just on what you're saying about giving back, reciprocity, extremely important. You know, you give to others and you receive. You also mentioned young guys.
Yeah.
Why the fuck have you got me following Jack on your podcast? You got to, I don't know how old he is, but he's a young fella, and he was super impressive. I love that podcast. So
thanks, man.
Really good choice getting him on board.
He's a really smart kid, and I can't talk about what he's doing, but he's doing something really amazing. So, you know, thank you for the feedback. And, you know, really good that you brought that up, because there are people like him that are just next level. You sit down with the guy and you talk to him, and he's so well spoken, he's so inspirational, and you know, and he's not afraid to move from what he's doing to other things. So everybody wait until his next project comes out. He's doing something phenomenal. So
what were you doing at that age? I mean, I was just wondering. I was wasting my life away, and you see people like that doing amazing things.
But you know, spot on, mate. I was doing probably nothing. You know,
Me too.
to be honest, you know.
Annoying my parents.
Probably, you know, but we came from a different era, man. Like, you know, there was no social media, there was no like internet, right? We didn't have knowledge. So if I wanted to find something, I had to go and get an encyclopedia from a library. I remember Coles used to give this encyclopedia if you bought extra, you know, shopping or whatever, that you had to buy, and you open it up and you read through it, right? So we're from a different era, man. We did it a different way. We hustled in a different way, you know. We didn't have social media marketing. We cold call. I remember I used to get a Yellow Pages. I used to get the phone and go through the Yellow Pages and cold call, right? Where's the Yellow Pages book now? It doesn't exist,
I don't
right?
think it exists.
But it's no excuse, you know. We just did it in our own way, and you know. But it's changed so much. You meet 20-year-old kids now that are earning millions and doing phenomenal things and giving back so much, right? And this, you know, power of social media and marketing has changed so much. It's allowing that 22, 23-year-old kid not only to do well, but in the flip side, to give back so much to others, you know? So it's changed so much.
The challenge is, though, the other side of the coin, where they now believe, this younger generation, that everything should be given for nothing as well. So you get your outcasts like Jack, who are just incredible human beings.
Yeah, 100%. There's always two sides to a coin, you know? There's a flip side, you know? And it's about, I guess, the whole aim is to talk about it, and we never criticise anybody, you know. For us, each their own, you know, we're nobody to criticise anyone, but for us it's about highlighting things like we are doing, and understanding, you know, what's going on out there, you know, and finding out what's good and what's bad. So tell me, Money Tech.
Money Tech,
before I push my chair down again and disappear.
Straight under the desk, your beautiful Ferrari desk. Money Tech, non-bank lender. We lend money to businesses, not dissimilar from Broadband Solutions, for example. We fund over $1 billion a year in loans.
Wow.
I'm CEO of the business.
Awesome.
Based in Melbourne, but head office is up in Sydney. Which I know at the end you'll probably ask, you know, what's next for you? Going to be a move to Sydney.
Okay.
So
awesome.
so we'll talk through that towards the end. But non-bank lender, we fund inventory, we fund invoices. We're doing over $1 billion a year. We also provide foreign exchange. So we transact more than $1 billion Aussie equivalent of foreign exchange a year. And we have a payments business as well, which is, you know, moving money from A to B, receiving money, managing that money, and then paying that money away. And that arm of our business, which is actually branded Maneuver, is moving about $2 billion a year in payments.
Okay.
So the business has just been on an incredible growth trajectory. I joined 3.5 years ago, head of their finance business,
Yep.
and probably 4 to 6 weeks ago promoted to company director and CEO.
Congrats.
So thank you, man. A lot of hard work.
Very well deserved.
I've been on the treadmill running on 20 for the last 3.5 years to get there. Not physically, if you look at me, I haven't been running on a treadmill on 20, but from a work front, yeah, absolutely.
So
It's been
break that down a little bit for me, for people that are like starting up in business and stuff. So what is your, like, who are you looking for in terms of new startups?
Yep.
People that, so let's say, so I want everyone to understand, so let's say I'm starting a business, I need money, do I come to you and what do I say and how does it work? Or
Yeah,
no, or am I in the midway of my business, 3-4 years, I need money, how does it all work? Just tell me.
You've been through it yourself. Startup phase
Yeah.
is absolutely the most difficult phase.
Yeah.
You've either got to hustle super hard
Yeah.
or you've got to have a sponsor.
Yeah.
If you want to go out and borrow money from a bank or even a company like MoneyTech and it's a startup, incredibly difficult unless you have experience in that industry.
Okay.
So if somebody comes to me and they say, Nick, I want to start up a recruitment company
Yeah.
and I need funding for that.
Yeah.
And I look at the guy's resume and he's been in recruitment for 20 years in senior roles,
Yeah.
we'll back a guy like that.
Okay, cool. I get that. Yeah.
But if we have someone straight out of school saying, Nick, I want to import iron ore from India and export it to Bangladesh and then,
Yeah.
with no experience, we're not going to back startups like that.
Okay,
So
cool.
generally as a lender, we're looking for 2-year established businesses,
Yeah.
revenue between, for MoneyTech, $1 million per annum up to
Yeah.
500 million.
Yep, sure.
So we're really looking
Yeah.
after that whole
Really?
small business, mid-market segment down to the bottom end of the ASX.
So you're actually giving back in a way and allowing people to grow, the ecosystem and the business to grow and
Tell-
get bigger.
Tell you a story. I had an ex-girlfriend once, many years ago.
Many years ago.
Have a lovely fiance now.
You actually do.
And she's
I don't know how
Colombian,
you
so
did
she's
that.
listening.
I bet she's still good for you, huh?
That's right. So now I had a girlfriend many years ago. You're talking about giving
Yeah.
back. She was a school teacher, and she said to me one day, we had a bit of an argument, as you do, nothing too
Yeah.
serious. But she said, "You go to work every day and get people in debt and make them struggle. But I go to work and I help kids teach. And no disrespect to school teachers, I love them. It's
Yeah,
just
of course.
one of the most underpaid professions in Australia. And I know over in Scandinavia, they really pay their teachers a lot of money. And you look at the output, right? They're incredibly
Yes,
smart
Lord.
people. But my response to her was, well, no. And this was back in my Commonwealth Bank days. I said, I actually go to work and I help that couple that have dreamt of buying a cafe their whole life and running their business own their own business.
Spot on.
Right? It was kind of a
Spot on. And that's
different
what I
lens,
mean,
a different
man.
way to look at it.
And that's what I mean, I think there's such a thing as good debt and bad debt,
Yes.
right? I think, if you're using money and you have debt, and this is my personal opinion, I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, so don't take what I say on board.
Disclaimer, this
There's
is
a
personal
disclaimer,
advice.
this is a personal advice. For me, my father always told me, there's such a thing as good debt. If you want to, grow as a person, build something, go and get a debt and start a business. Go and get a debt and buy a house and buy property, right? Don't go and get a debt and buy Ferraris, right? Which I did too. Pay cash.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we can't do that.
Yeah,
But there's such a thing as a lifestyle as well. Not everything's an investment. Because if you're not happy, you're not enjoying, you go to work and you break your back and you sacrifice and you work hard. All for what? Right? All
Yeah,
for
it's got to
what?
be an end game for you.
100.
You've got to
be
enjoy
a
it.
balance too, mate, right? So there's such a thing as a lifestyle and investments, right? And I think you use money for both of them, but you've got to enjoy yourself. So talking about that, right? We did a track day together.
We did a track day up at Broadford.
Broadford.
It's a motorbike track actually.
It
Or an
is.
enduro bike track.
It is.
They're
And
great for cars, great little tight
exactly.
circuit.
So tell me, you love cars.
I
And
love
you
cars.
have different cars to what I have.
I have the Bogan car
No.
collection. You have the supercar collection.
So tell me, because the other day, if anyone follows me on Instagram, I did a little thing and I actually got hit up by a lot of guys saying, wow, that's next level. You had the VL Calais,
Yeah, VL
V8,
Calais.
naturally aspirated. Am I
Yes.
saying that right?
You have saying that in
And it was-
Bogan language.
Mate, it was phenomenal.
It's a beautiful car.
So tell me, how did you get into that stuff?
All right.
What was the story about these cars?
You spoke before about good debt and bad debt.
Yeah,
I've just been completely guilty for bad debt. You know,
Yeah.
personal loan at 21 to buy, cars. That particular VL, I owned that when I was 21. Funnily enough,
Oh yeah, you did.
I
you told me.
sold it,
Yeah.
and I ended up buying it back 10 years later from the guy that I sold it to.
How
I had
did
an
that happen?
emotional attachment to it.
Did you know? So you knew where he went to, and you still kept in touch
I
with the
knew
guy?
the guy, and I reckon every couple of years,
You hit him up.
as my financial situation had improved from when I was
Yeah,
21, I'd hit him up and I'd say, "Hey, do you want to sell the car?"
No way.
And he'd say, "No, I'm not interested." And we
He was smart.
did back and forth. He was very smart.
Yeah.
He kept me.
He had you on the
for
thing,
10
on the hook.
years.
Yeah.
And 10 years later, he said, "Yeah, absolutely, I'd sell it now." And
Wow.
I went and bought it back, and I've had it resprayed. And
Wow.
but I don't know. I mean, we're a similar age.
Yeah.
Back when I was in my late teens, early 20s, VLs, VKs,
Yeah.
Mazda rotaries.
Oh,
you know,
the RX-7? Was the RX-7
I've got an RX-4 coupe actually,
No
which we can
way.
talk through. But for me, I had all of these dream
Yeah.
cars. People used to put 17-inch rims on Geminis. Right, a 17-inch rim now is nothing, right? You use a 17-inch rim as a table ornament now. They're so small, but that's what it was like back then. So I've now really gone and bought myself one of each.
Okay.
So
So what do you got? Tell me.
So I've got
if you don't mind.
No, of course. So I've got the VL Calais,
Yeah.
which is a beautiful car. Original 5-litre VL Calais, real bogan bus, but I love it.
Love it.
Loud,
Yeah.
smell petrol.
Yeah.
My poor fiance, when she washes her hair every morning,
Yeah.
she gets in that car,
Yeah.
she comes out, and all she can smell is her hair smells like petrol.
It's true, because when you started it,
Oh,
the other day,
absolutely.
I came back half an
Yeah.
hour later, I could still smell the
You
petrol.
need a good bit of ventilation.
Yeah.
So I've got the VL Calais.
Yeah.
I've then got an original 5-litre VK as well.
Oh, wow.
It's a Brock replica. You know, if you look at the real Brocks, they can go for upwards of 200,000.
Wow.
This one, mini tubbed, big motor in it, roll cage.
Yeah.
Makes around 650 horsepower at the motor. It's
Wow.
got a bit of power. Good fun. Beautiful
Yeah.
car. Mazda RX-4 coupe.
Oh, wow.
Right, so a 13B.
That's a rotary engine?
Yeah, 13B turbo rotary.
Yeah.
Amazing sounding cars.
Yeah.
And the smile on people's faces when they see one of those rolling down the
Because there's
street.
one around anymore. I don't see
You
them
never
around.
see them.
Because when I was young, I used to see them. I remember I used to have an MR2, right? And I was in the car with my girlfriend, who's my wife now, right? Trying to be cool. I had this MR2, and one of them pulled up next to me, right? St. George's Road, Preston, right? And the lights go green, and we take off. And these guys took off, man, and they're looking back at me and laughing
In your
because
little- yeah.
in the MR2, I had the old 90 MR2s, you know, and he's looking at me laughing because he had done up this car with the rotary engine, and I couldn't keep up. You know, I didn't want to go with the speed limit, obviously.
I've never seen you do
I'll
that.
never do that.
No, Sam, 6 below 60. on
Usually by
residential
5 or
streets all
10
the time.
k's down.
Yep.
And yeah, you know, I couldn't keep up, and I'll never forget. And I felt so embarrassed if one of my wife now, who was my girlfriend, you know, like these guys are looking back at me and just
In that
laughing.
Mazda.
In the Mazda.
Do you know what? It's an amazing segue because the next
Yeah.
car I was going to mention, I have a Toyota MR2,
No way.
and
The
I,
Bathurst one?
yeah, I've got the 1990 Target top.
That's what I had.
And
You got one.
Yeah, I've got one.
With the small gear shift that you put your hand on your stick.
And I had that car when I was
No way.
around the same time that I originally had my VL. So I was 21 or 22. Same story. Sold it to a guy in Queensland. Bought it back nearly 15 years later. And unfortunately, he'd fucked the motor. So when I bought it
wow.
back, he'd said to me, you know what? No issues with the car.
Yeah.
Running fine. So I bought it sight unseen.
Yeah.
And there's bad people out there,
Yeah,
right? So he
there's
sold me a
bad people.
lemon back, and recently spent 15,000 getting the motor rebuilt, E85 tune. It's making about 600 horsepower.
Wow.
So for those who don't know what an MR2 is, Google it. It's a little two-seater.
It was like a Ferrari of Toyotas back then.
It's a poor man's
But
Ferrari.
it was, man.
Yeah.
And it was a cool, and it had one of the best, because of the engine being at the back,
Rear mount engine.
it had the best handling.
Yeah.
You know, that was,
Unless you lose the back
Oh,
end,
yeah,
and then you're gone.
I can't wait
So-
you have one.
So
Please.
I'll drive it into work
Please.
next week.
Please.
It's full early 2000s spec.
Yeah.
It's candy purple,
Oh, wow.
cream leather interior. I'm just too embarrassed to
But
drive.
the lights used to pop up.
Yeah, the lights pop up.
And there was a trick that if you did a trick, the lights would pop up halfway. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, you turn it and you turn it back, and just like comes up a little bit. It looked cool back then. I don't know if it's still cool.
Do you know what the funny thing is with that car? I'm 35 years old. I'm a chubby white Australian. When I'm driving that thing, I'm wearing, a big hat, sunglasses. I just don't want anyone to see me in it. But the enjoyment I get driving it is the funnest car to drive. It's fast, it's loud, it's obnoxious.
It's beautiful. I can't believe you have that.
And then my daily driver, which I've got a bit of a story about that, my GTR R35.
Beautiful car.
I drive that every day.
Yeah, I love it.
Right, so rough car to drive, but they've got a cult following.
Yeah, big time.
But I've sold it.
You sold it?
And it's getting picked up by the new purchaser, lucky guy by the name of AJ, this afternoon at 2 p.m.
Oh, man.
But you're going to be excited to see the upgrade. I'm not going to say what it is. I haven't bought it yet.
What does it have? Oh, you haven't got it yet?
Haven't got it yet.
Give us a
but
hint.
when it gets delivered,
Japanese, European.
It might be European. So unfortunately, my fiance doesn't know yet, so I'm not going to get. Yeah, just keep that. Can you edit that part out, please? And but European.
Oh, awesome, man! I'm excited for you.
I'm excited too.
Well, we're going to take a couple of pics of that car today at some stage.
Absolutely, it's downstairs.
This is a beautiful car. I think I actually blocked you in today. I'm kind of part of the end.
It's okay. I can deal with that.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool.
I'll tell you another funny story about the GTR. I was driving back from the Broadford track day that we did that day with you, and I'm a big Formula One fan.
Yeah.
So the number plates on my GTR are Senna, right? As in Ed Senna, the late Formula One driver, may he rest in peace.
Yeah, God bless him.
But Senna drove Hondas, and he drove McLarens.
Yeah.
Right. I've got a Senna plate on a GTR, right? So I look like a bit of a dickhead. I got petrol on the way back from the Broadford track day because we thrashed our cars all day, and I think I left there with a petrol light on, and I'm standing paying for my petrol, and there's a group of teenagers, right, standing there right in front of me at the counter, and they're looking out, and one of them goes, "Oh, look, there's a GTR."
Yeah.
And one of his mates turns around to him and says, "Look at the number plate, Senna. What a fuckwit! It's not even a Honda NSX." And you know what? I sat there and I didn't say anything to him, but I laughed to myself. And I thought, I don't blame these kids for saying that, driving around. So if you've got any friends with a McLaren, they might want to buy those plates off me.
Maybe I'll buy them off you, and I'll buy a McLaren one day.
Buy a McLaren Senna. $2 million bucks. It's selling for more now than what you can buy one new for.
There's a couple of guys that are driving around with them in
I think there's two, right?
Two, yeah, we won't name them.
No.
no, we can't.
Amazing cars though.
Barry's got one, and also Adrian, and they're actually really cool guys, and they're both like car fanatics. They love their cars.
If you've got a couple of $1 million bucks to splash on McLaren Senna, they must love their cars.
It's actually gone to the right people, which is always good. So tell me, okay, so work's good, car's good. What's happening with life? You getting married? I don't want to put some pressure on you.
Got engaged.
I met your fiance.
Yeah, I mean we got engaged in Lake Como in Italy.
Ah, you gotta be kidding me!
I think it was October or November.
No way!
Can't recall the exact date, but we got engaged. So that was
beautiful place, man.
Beautiful, mate. And you know what? The funny thing is,
beautiful place.
I was 99.99% confident she'd say yes.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I crumbled. Right. So
why?
I planned to get on the knee. We're overlooking, Lake Como. It's a beautiful place, beautiful mountains. I planned to get on one knee and say, "Will you marry me?"
Yeah.
Right? And we're sitting in this beautiful garden.
Yeah.
And I've got my hand in my backpack on the ring.
Yeah.
And my heart rate jacked. Right? Probably 180 BPM. And looking at me, my body struggles with that. So. Right, so I'm holding onto this ring, and I'm shitting myself. And she turns around to me and she says, "This is my favourite part of our European holiday. This is the most beautiful, beautiful place that I've seen. What's been your favourite part of the holiday?" And instinctively, I pulled the ring out and I said, "I don't want to comment on what my favourite part of the holiday is, but I'm now hoping this is your favourite part of the holiday." And I pulled the ring out. So
that's super cool,
I crumbled in the moment.
But it was perfect.
It was perfect.
Yeah, that's super cool. It was perfect because I've been to Lake Como, and what a beautiful
What a spot.
place, man.
What a spot.
I can't believe that's the best place to do it. And like, you know, I'm not big on things, but there's certain things that are just really special.
I carried this ring around with me in Europe for 2 weeks. Just
Trying to find it. So you didn't plan it.
I
So you were
didn't
just
plan
trying
it.
to, right? You were going to do it. I
Correct.
know. You didn't plan the location.
did not plan the
It was about
location.
where's it going to be good.
So I was
Let's do it.
in Paris, and
Yeah.
I thought, you know what? It's big,
So,
it's smelly,
yeah.
it's cliche.
Yeah.
We're down in Nice.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
beautiful.
Yeah.
But the moment wasn't right.
Yeah.
We were in Monaco,
Yeah.
and I thought this has got to be the
Yeah.
right spot. But it was about 45 degrees that
Ah, yeah.
day, and
Yeah, forget about
it just didn't
Yeah.
feel right. We head up to Lake Como, and
Beautiful
it was
place,
just
man.
it was magical. So,
Beautiful place. So congratulations on that. Man.
thank you.
deserve
So
it.
so wedding next year.
Yeah.
Moving to Sydney in April this year, now with
Yeah.
the CEO
Yeah.
role of MoneyTech.
Yeah.
And I think what's probably going to consume the next 2 years of my life is us taking MoneyTech
To the next
public.
level.
Well, we're taking it public, so
Oh man, that's amazing.
an upcoming IPO. We're doing all, we're flirting with brokers at the moment. People are going to help take us public. It could be 6 months away, or it could be 2 years away. But really, that's going to
Start the
consume my
process.
consume my
Oh,
time.
good on you, man. That's
Thank you.
awesome. So tell me, what I want to get to is that the whole point of this is, right, like I said at the start of the show, there's no scripts. And what I try and do is people that I've met before here and there, but I don't know a lot about.
And no edits yet.
No edits yet.
We haven't even- we haven't even
probably-
edited.
we actually hardly do any editing. So, like people like yourself that I love, but I bring him on the show and I actually get to know him because a lot of things that he's told me I didn't even know. You know what I mean? So it's genuine getting to know you. For the first time, as do the viewers. There's no scripts or anything, right? So that said, the whole point of this show is to keep it real. And what I want from you, man, is, to the 16-year-old, 17-year-old, 20-year-old girl or guy in our country and everywhere else around the world that are, lost, they don't know what they're doing, they don't know what to do, or they're struggling day to day, right? What is your advice, man? Like, what do you tell them, like, in terms of business-wise and work and life? What is your advice?
I've got a quick story on that. I've got a wonderful cousin, and he struggled with what he wanted to do, right?
Yeah.
And tried a few different jobs and didn't know what he wanted. He called me for advice and he said, "Look, I just want a 6-figure salary."
Yeah.
And I said, it's not about having a 6-figure salary, it's about finding something that you like.
Yeah.
And my advice to him at that point, which would be the advice to
Yeah.
anyone, is start at the bottom, right? Think back to my story at the bank. I was in the call center, then I went into small business, then corporate banking, then institutional banking, and now I'm out in the private sector. But that didn't happen overnight. The 6-figure salary doesn't happen overnight. It's
Yeah.
just start at the bottom,
Yeah.
hustle, and make sure that the powers above you see you hustling.
Yeah, recognise it. Recognise the hard work, man.
Don't do it silently. Don't do it obnoxiously,
So well
but
said.
make
man.
sure they can see you hustling. And you've got a great team out the back here.
Yeah.
You know
Thank
the guys that are hustling hard.
Yeah, 100%.
You notice it.
100%.
So just start at the bottom, work your way through the system, but pick a career that you're passionate about.
That's so true. as
Sounds
well.
cliche,
No,
but
no,
it's a
no.
simple
but
formula.
But it's so true. And Nick, you hit the nail on the head, man. You're spot on. It is about all those basic common sense stuff. That's not common sense to a lot of people, right? And I'll get hit up on on Insta all the time for advice, and I just tell them the truth, And I had a lady hit me up, and she said, watching the stuff you guys are doing, it's inspired me to leave my $180,000 salary and start my own business from zero. But she goes to me, I'm so happy because I'm doing something that I'm passionate about,
Good
and
for
I
her.
believe that I'm gonna create something big, And that's the
Well, that's
concept
part of your
yeah.
journey, right? It's part of your podcast journey, your social
100%,
media journey.
man.
So I'm glad you're inspiring
Oh,
people.
thanks, man. But to hear that stuff, and at the same time, I had a guy that hit me up and asked me for some money yesterday, and I actually went to delete, right? Because a lot of people do that, and I said, no, I'm not going to delete it. So I wrote back to him. I said, my friend, don't ever do that again.
Go and
number
work.
one, yeah. I said,
Go
don't
get
ever
a
do
job.
that again. Number one. Number two, mate, I understand and I feel for you, but go and fucking hustle. Go out there. And you know what? To his credit, he came back and he said, thank you. And I appreciate you taking the time to even write back to me. And thank you. And I will go and do that. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to say, get stuffed or something like that. But for him to give me that response, it took me back as well. And he validated that I'm glad that I should reply to him rather than just deleting.
So what happens if his CV comes through to Broadband Solutions when you advertise a job next?
Oh man, he was in Zimbabwe or something, you know. So it's all the way on the other side of the world.
He's
but,
a Nigerian.
Yeah.
It is about hustling. I manage a whole group of great sales guys, and we have young sales guys coming through the system.
Yeah.
And I give them that tip, right? Hustle and get noticed. And they said, well, what do I need to do differently? And I say, well, when it's free dress, casual day Friday, which is pretty common in corporate environments, fucking rock up in your suit, right? Just do things differently. You don't have to be one of the sheep following what the corporate world is telling you to do.
I love that. You know? I love that you think like that. I love that. And you know what? That's how you inspire people. That's how you give real feedback, and people will look up to you. And and this is what it's all about, mate. It's been great chatting to you. Thank you so much for coming down. You are a beautiful person. And before I finish up, I want to say thank you to you for inviting me to the boxing match. Right,
that's a good story.
So you invited me, and you're so generous, Nick. And I people that know me, I hate taking things. I feel very uncomfortable with it. But you're so generous. You invited me to the Barry Hall fight.
Barry Hall, Paul Gallen.
And mate, you just treated me like such a beautiful guest, and I had such an amazing time. And one of the things that I recognised that night was how you had so many people, staff and friends there that you had invited, and how everybody just came together and just clicked, and everybody there was just a cool guy.
What a great group.
What a great crew you got, mate.
And we're emotionally attached to that fight.
Yeah.
Because what a lot of people don't know is Barry Hall, he works for Moneytech.
That's right.
Not as an ambassador.
Yeah.
He works for Moneytech. So we
How did you get him on board? I know I was just about to finish up.
Yeah.
This is unedited. So how did he come in?
It's an interesting 60-second story.
Yeah.
He will tell it differently than I do.
I'm sure you will.
So Barry lost his job on radio for making some unfortunate comments.
Yeah.
I won't go into that. But that being said, Barry's a good person, right? Inherently, a very, very good person.
Yeah.
So I saw a story on 60 Minutes, and it was Barry basically saying that he's lost all of his income.
Yeah.
Not that he didn't have money, just I've lost my income as a result of some poor behaviour.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and I was sitting there with my fiance, and I said, look, this guy, he seems pretty genuine.
Yeah.
What Moneytech does, we deal with a lot of finance brokers, middle-aged, in Melbourne, huge AFL fans. And I thought maybe I could give Barry some work, if he wants it, working for Moneytech, dealing with finance brokers. So I messaged him on Instagram. So I tracked down his Instagram profile, sent him a private message on Insta, and I can't recall exactly what it said, but it was something like, hey Barry, I saw the 60 Minutes story. I think you'd actually fit in well in our industry based on the type of people we deal with. I work in finance, etc., etc. And he hit me back. And at the time, he was living on the Gold Coast. So I said, you know what, while the opportunity's hot, I'm going to get on a plane. So the next day, I got on a plane, I flew up to Queensland, met with him, we talked through the opportunity, we flirted with the idea for a few months, got him on board, and he's done a tremendous job.
Wow.
He's taken a sabbatical for his boxing.
Okay.
So that night when we went to the boxing, he probably had 6 weeks off to train for that. And he's currently off training, getting ready to fight Sonny Bill Williams.
Oh, wow.
The rugby league
There you
star,
go. There's some exclusive news.
The freak athlete. There's been talk about it online,
man.
but
That's going to
be
be huge.
So
Well,
the way that Barry tells the story though,
how does he tell the
this
story?
Nick guy stalked the fuck out of me, and he liked 70 of my Instagram photos so that I noticed him. But
Did you do that or
no,
not, man?
I didn't do
Tell
that.
the truth.
I might have liked.
Where's his Instagram account? Let me get his Instagram account. Let's check it out.
I might have liked a couple of his car photos.
7?
7 of his car photos.
No, but a zero.
Because for those who don't know, he has a car collection.
He does. You were telling me, huh?
As good as either of ours or better.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
There you go. But mate, again, I love what you do, man. Like the way you went for that, and I love how you think because it works. You're helping someone out, right? But at the same time, you're doing something with it as well. And you know what? That's what it's all about, mate. Go out there, make it happen, and nothing can stop you but you, right? And fuck the fear, right? Break that fear barrier. Go out there, achieve anything you set your mind to. That said, thank you for joining us and tuning in. Please take the time to listen to us on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, and also Twitter. Not Tinder.
Whatever else.
I don't have Tinder works.
Never said that.
And also listen to our YouTube channel. Yeah, watch our YouTube channel because we've got that up and running. And please give us the feedback. And man, I love you. What a great chat.
Thank you, man.
So
Me
cool.
too.
Thank you so much. Thanks for coming and joining us.
Good man. Thanks, Sam.
See you guys.
Cheers.